immediately picked up by a guardian.
How many students are there in your school district?
We have a little under 2,000 students at 4 school sites, 3 elementary, middle school, and then we have our preschool buildings as well.
And what should your school community do to monitor what is the latest in terms of classes? Because we don't know how long this fire is going to impact the region. So where should they be checking?
Exactly. We have a program called Parent Square in which we do all our communication with our families, and we will be sending out messages updating the families on the status of school. More than likely, with the situation we're in and the smoke and the unhealthy air, more than likely we will cancel school for tomorrow. And the families being safe.
All right, Bob Bronison, Superintendent, Castaic Unified School District. Thank you for your time and your information. An important message to get out to your students and their parents on a very tough day. Thank you.
Very tough day indeed. Let's check back in with our reporter, Rachel Menitoff. She's on the ground on Sloan Canyon Road. She is close to Castaic High School, which was evacuated. In fact, we were just showing you some video from that evacuation. Rachel, how are things going on the ground where you are right now? We're looking at some Sky 5 images of the look from above, but how are things there?
Yeah, people here are gathering their belongings. They're packing up their cars. The sheriff's department came by and they told everyone you have to be ready at a moment's notice. This is technically one of the evacuation zones. We're here with Fred over here. You can see he's watering down his house on Sloan Canyon. Hey, Fred.
Hi, how are you?
How are you doing? How are you holding up?
We're hanging in here. I got my mom inside. We're all ready to go. We're packed up. Sheriffs came earlier and let us know that, be safe than sorry. So we are.
You told me that you saw this fire break out at the very onset of the fire. What did you see initially?
Well, at the get-go, we were going around the hill right here, walking my animals, and when I looked at the canyon, I saw a little bit of smoke. So I took out my phone and took some pictures in the film, and in less than, I don't know, not even 5 minutes, it became the most immense plume of smoke I've ever seen in my life. Made everything dark all of a sudden, and we're just trying to hang in here because, well, this is all we got. So we're gonna stay here until they take us or make us leave. So that's where we're at right now. So,
well, we're wishing you the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for talking to us, Fred, under difficult circumstances. Thank you. And this is Donna and Rick over here. You live on this property as well.
Correct.
Tell us, how are you holding up and how have you prepared in the event that the fire gets close to your home?
We're packed up. We're packed up, ready to go. Packed as much as we could. And it's in God's hands now.
Yeah, it's in God's hands totally. Yeah.
Obviously an ominous and scary position to be in, I would imagine.
Absolutely, yes.
Especially since what we've seen over there in the East Fire, how bad that was.
Sure. How long have you been in this home, been in this area?
About 20 years.
Yeah, about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen anything like this fire before?
20 years ago there was one.
There was one.
It came right to these hills right here. These hills were on fire.
And obviously the dryness, the climate, and we haven't had rain in 300 something days. So that's obviously a concern around here.
Right, yeah.
Look at all the brush.
Yeah,
how
brush is everywhere.
Brown it is. It's really
dark and fire hazard.
Yeah, this is very dangerous right now.
So you're going to wait until, the fire is a bit closer. What is your plan, if I may ask?
He tells me we gotta leave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rick, Donna, we are wishing you the best.
Thank you.
And for a safe, that we all stay safe amidst these fires.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
Lauren, Glenn, you can see a lot of people hosing down their homes over here. It's an attempt to protect their structures from this fire. We don't know exactly if or when it will come in this direction, but people are taking precautions. This is their livelihood. As you heard, they've lived here for 20 years and it is a precious place to them. Lauren, Glenn.
Absolutely. So emotional. 2 questions for you. It sounded like we could almost hear aircraft in your shot. And then also, can that neighbor show us the sprinkler system they have set up that they're leaving behind.
Sure.
Yeah, let's look at that.
Yeah, we are here. Yeah, sure thing. Hey, Fred, could you talk us through what you're doing with the sprinkler system? Could you show us what you're doing?
I mean, we're just trying to keep the roof, wet. I got a couple of hoses all around the house, but since it's coming from, this east side north, I figured it's better to keep, everything wet on this side. So I'm trying to concentrate my force over here. Keep it wet on this side.
Sure. And have you done this before?
No, it's never really been that scary, to be honest with you. Even the fire across right here, there was a big house that lit up about 2 years ago. And it didn't cause much, nothing burnt but the house. But this time, all the neighbors on top, I see all their horses, livestock coming down. They evacuated the school. Sheriffs already came by and told us, get ready. If you got to get out, they asked us how many of us live here. So we gave them a good count. So they're aware. And we told them, we're not going to give them a hard time. Just give us a chance to pack and go. That's
Yeah.
about it,
Absolutely.
We're not scared to the point where I think we're going to burn, but,
This is a precaution.
yeah, I mean, it's better safe than sorry,
Absolutely.
What can I say? Other than, what can I say?
I hear you.
This is scary,
So,
You can't rehearse for this.
no, absolutely.
You can't rehearse for this at all. It's just something that you naturally got to do. You see that my mom over there is a bit terrified now. She's getting a bit terrified, but we'll take care of her. She'll be all right. She's the first one I'll get out of here.
Wonderful. It sounds like a good plan, Fred. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for talking with us. You as well. So Lauren, Glenn, you can see Fred is hosing down mainly his roof and the outside of his house. He said he hasn't done this before. It's kind of a spontaneous thing, but doing everything he can in the event that the fire gets close to his house.
All right, Rachel, thank you for that. Interesting story there. Somebody just wants to fight to save his home.
Yeah, keep it, get it as wet as it can before he leaves,
Yeah.
And Rachel did say she could hear aircraft overhead from where she is on the ground. Let's go back to our newsroom. Samantha Cortese is monitoring all of the important information up to date that people need to hear about evacuations, road closures, and that sort of thing. Sam, what are you learning at 2:36 this afternoon?
And the traffic, Lauren, Glenn, Kai, the traffic heading out of and into this area looks pretty bad on the map. And I just want to mention, into Ventura County now, there is an expanded evacuation warning now south of Lake Piru. So a little, let's see, if I scroll over, this area just north of the 126 and south of Lake Piru is now under an evacuation warning. Ventura County Fire has said they're monitoring this closely as it does. The fire zone does cross now into Ventura County. And I wanted to mention, and this is important as we're discussing traffic, CHP says that the 5 through the Grapevine will be closed for an unknown duration. They updated their traffic about 15 minutes ago and reflected that the Grapevine will be closed for an unknown duration. The closures will be in place at State Route 126 for northbound traffic and at Grapevine Road for southbound traffic. They do suggest using Quick Maps or Google Maps to find alternate routes. We heard earlier in the phone call you had on air that take the 14 to Lancaster back down to the 5 to get around this closure through the 5 at Castaic. Now I want to switch screens here and just talk about the animal shelters, since we know there are a lot of horses, livestock in this evacuation zone. Large animals can go to Lancaster Animal Care Center and Pierce College. Small animals, the Palmdale, Agora, and Lancaster Animal Care Centers. As far as schools go, you all just had the superintendent from Castaic Unified School District to let us know that all of the students within that district have been picked up, which is good news considering the pickup areas were also in mandatory evacuation zones. So I just wanted to mention, for those concerned about the students who are at school and being told to go to the Castaic Sports Complex, those students have all been picked up. But the big news this hour is that the 5 through the Grapevine will be closed for an unknown duration. I have family and friends who are driving through into Ventura County area. Of course, we know Camarillo just had that fire at the end of last year. So a lot of people in that area reporting smoke as well. They're seeing heavy smoke come into Ventura County as this fire continues to grow toward that county line, which is why they have expanded evacuation orders in the last few minutes just south of Lake Piru. I'll show you that on the map here, as this fire has grown now to 5,000 acres.
All right, Samantha, thank you for that information. Where this fire just exploded, I remember we went on the air, it was 50 acres.
Yep, 10:38, the call came in when
Yeah.
we went live, when we had Sky 5 overhead just after 11 o'clock. We're hearing 50 acres. Now, hours later, more than 5,000, with thousands of people under mandatory evacuation orders. And Kai, there are aspects of the weather. We're under a red flag warning that are contributing to this, creating, that set the stage for this, all of that.
Yeah,
What are we looking at?
and a very rare fire warning that has been put into place for much of Los Angeles County this afternoon, which means that ignition could be possible anywhere in LA County and could spread quite rapidly. And we're seeing signs of that because the ember spread is definitely a cause for concern this afternoon, especially up near the Castaic area, as we do take a live look at this Hughes fire on the right-hand side of your screen, moving a little bit further in a southerly direction, and a lot of that smoke now moving into much of the northern and northwestern sections of Los Angeles County, all the way into Ventura County, even out to the coast. We're getting a lot of viewers that are calling in and sending pictures from the Ventura area, and that smoke is definitely moving in that direction. So you want to be careful for the rest of the afternoon, again, especially if you are in Los Angeles County, surrounding counties, including Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino County, under a red flag warning through tomorrow, Thursday night at about 8 o'clock. So all of Southern California continues to be under difficult and extreme fire weather conditions once again today, tomorrow as well. We're still looking at the fire line and winds right now sustained at about 17 miles per hour, some gusts into the high 20s, low 30s, but the all-important humidity value will continue to stay bone dry, 6% right now. And that's what's really driving this fire, is the extreme dry conditions and the fuels that surround much of this area and all of Southern California this afternoon. So if you are in one of these areas where it is a mandatory evacuation, it is the best thing that you could do for yourself and your family to heed those warnings and to leave your property. Again, we've been telling you about this for the last couple of weeks, to have that go bag ready, to have all of your documentation, your pharmaceuticals, your medicines, anything you need to be away from your home for more than a couple to 3 days. A change of clothing. We've heard people that have had to leave without even having a toothbrush or toothpaste.
Yes.
So, you know, those simple things, those are what really matter the most, especially when, unfortunately, you might have to spend the night in a hotel or a shelter. And we certainly do hope that that does not happen to you and your families. But again, you've got to be prepared. It's rather random. And we're taking another live look at one of the fixed wings that have come down from Canada, doing, again, a remarkable job dropping water on these fires. And also we've got a lot of the DC-10s that continue to encircle this fire, and they're laying a lot of retardant. You can see that on your screen as well. A lot of that pink retardant that we've become quite accustomed to over the last couple of weeks, helping to slow the spread of this fire.
Yeah, Kai. And on the right, we were seeing some of the extreme weather created by the fire itself. So when that happens, is that just in that immediate area of the flames?
It's so difficult to pinpoint where that's happening, but we're seeing those fire nados as the fires run uphill very rapidly, and they do create their own vorticity, their own circulation, and we've been seeing a lot of that occurring. Now, the good news for much of Southern California is we will make our way into Friday, and we'll start to see these winds really relaxing. We'll see an onshore flow developing. And once we head into the weekend, we actually have rain coming to Southern California, and we could see anywhere between 1/10 to up to 1/2 and maybe 3/4 of an inch as we make our way from Saturday afternoon, all the way to very early Monday morning, the beginning of next.
Yep. Yep. I'm ready whenever you want me. There's a super scooper. So he must have gone into Castaic from where he came from. Real. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's ash. Like, yeah, yeah. I'll pass that on. Yeah, maybe when we come back around, let's go to the north side when we come back around. I want to see the fires jump to 5 yet.
pops up on your property, that's when you, if you are still home, if you haven't had to evacuate, that's when you can hit some of those embers to prevent the spread. And otherwise, also, you're taking some pressure, water pressure, away from firefighters who might need that pressure if you're using your garden hose at home. So it's easy for me to say, but
Sure.
once again, these are sort of rules and regulations that firefighters would like for us to abide to.
Yes, and you know, just in terms of the evacuees that we've seen, you know, Alina has been in a neighborhood just giving us a glimpse of that, with sheriff's deputies going door to door, telling people to leave, people packing up their essential items. People have been through this before in this area. They told us in the route fire a couple of years ago, so they know what to pack. Some of them already had their go bags ready, and Alina has been watching the fire from that vantage point. She's there joining us now on Pinecrest Place. Alina.
Hi, Lauren. That's right. We are still here and just watching the situation develop. You can see the flank of the fire. It is now south of Hughes Road and Ridge Route. While there is no immediate threat to structures out here, there is still a very big presence from fire personnel just making sure that the fire does not reach this community. In order for it to do so, it would have to jump over to this area. Of course, that's a possibility. It just depends on the wind. We've seen a lot of flying debris. However, this community here still remains safe. You can see fire personnel, they're all over this area. We have crews from multiple agencies, a lot of strike teams, just 2 LA City fire strike teams in this area alone. And at this point, it is a waiting game to see how the wind behaves. You can see firefighters over there. You can see firefighters also inside that person's property. They're in the backyard. And many people actually choosing to stay behind. They're packed up, they're ready to leave, but they're waiting for that final moment for it to be time to actually leave. We have a couple residents down here, so if we walk down, we can probably chat with them. But just to recap what's been happening out here, this fire started around 11 a.m. Residents started to get the evacuation warnings, which then turned into evacuation orders. Around noon, they started to see the fire coming over the ridge. They started to see all the black smoke, and you can see the horizon here. It is just unrecognizable. You can't even see the mountain because it is so dark and so dense as far as the smoke goes. We spoke to this gentleman earlier. Hi, sir. How are you doing now?
Okay.
Is within that red flag, also high wind warnings, and also a very rare fire warning for much of not just this area, but much of Los Angeles and the eastern sections of Ventura County, which means that a fire could ignite and explode and quite quickly. And that's something to keep in mind throughout the rest of the day today. So hopefully everybody who lives in LA County is continuing to be aware, stay alert, have that go bag at the ready at all times.
Let's get back up to Gil Lavis and Sky 5. Gil, that was a great shot you just had of the not 1, not 2, but 3 choppers filling up with water.
Well, that's right, Glenn and Lauren and Kai. You're looking at one of the tankers now that's working. This is the DC-10 that's working on the furthest eastern flank of the fire. He's coming in to lay that fire retardant drop along the lines here to prevent it from spreading towards like the Santa Clarita area. But here comes the drop right now. He's going to drop on this line here that you've seen they've been dropping here for a while now. Here comes the drop. So again, a lot of active fire, but a lot of unburned brush up here. You can see all that brush underneath the aircraft there that they're laying that fire retardant on. But as I pan to the left here, you're going to see the extent of the fire line here on that southeastern flank of the fire, and it continues to push off, the smoke going off over the 5 freeway and beyond. Now, I can tell you that we just were looking at the 5 freeway, and they have, the CHP has closed down the 5 freeway northbound from the 126 freeway. In fact, let me see if I can show it to you from over here, but it's in this area. It is shut down in both directions. The Grapevine is shut down because of the fire right now, but continuing to put up a lot of smoke, and it's really just laying down over the hillsides here. And we can't even see Lake Castaic at this point because of all the smoke. But again, a lot of active flames out in this area. Fortunately, no structures out here that are threatened at this point. But as I push into one of the hot spots, you can see all the heavy unburnt brush here that is just going up like crazy. But again, a lot of smoke being billowed out of this fire. And you can see a little fire tornado working there in this flank of the fire. But again, firefighters doing what they can with the air tankers here, helicopters doing water drops, getting water from the lake and then coming and putting it on the fire lines. So a very active fire that is completely out of control. That's the latest overhead up in Sky 5. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Gil, from your vantage point, can you see how far the flames are from any of those neighborhoods, like where Alina Bovian is?
Yeah, that's going to be back. We've flown all the way out to the east. We're going to turn and make our way back towards the 5. You can see, well, it's really kind of hard to see. There's, it looks like some structures right in this area here. And if I pull out wider, you see the line of smoke that's nearby overhead. So it's not real close, but I would say I'd be very nervous if I was on the ground at this point.
All right, Gil Levis overhead in Sky 5. Thank you so much for that. We'll check in with you in a little bit. We have a team of reporters on the ground. We have Alina Abovian, who is in a neighborhood in Castaic. We also have Rachel Menitoff on the ground. They're both of them with residents that are preparing to evacuate or have evacuated, some that have systems in place, like a pump that pumps water out of their pool through a hose that they can use to wet the home, and even a water source for firefighters. And can we check in with one of our reporters on the ground? Is Alina or Rachel available? Well, okay, we're going to go to Samantha Cortese, who's in the newsroom. She's been monitoring all the evacuations and road closures. And Sam, the 5 freeway, we talked to CHP. They said they were getting ready to close down a portion. Has that happened?
Yes, CHP Newhall has said that due to the Hughes fire, the 5 northbound at the 126 will be shut down. They say, please continue to be patient as emergency crews continue to work in the area. They say the 5 is fully closed northbound at Newhall Ranch Road and also southbound at Grapevine. They say significant delays are expected and drivers are advised to plan alternate routes or delay travel. The closure will remain in effect until further notice. So that is the update on traffic from CHP. Also, CAL FIRE has been issuing road closures on its website, discussing what we've been saying for the last couple hours: Ridge Route Road at both Lake Hughes and Templin Highway, as well as Lake Hughes at Pine Canyon. The 5 northbound, we just went over that, as well as the Grapevine, closed. So please prepare. If you are driving north, if you need to go any further, that we've talked to a couple emergency responders who said the 14 may be an option to drive through Lancaster. I mentioned earlier, I have some family friends who live out in the Camarillo area who unfortunately went through that fire, and they say that driving back home today was pretty rough, and even driving anywhere surrounding Simi Valley. Glenn, I know you mentioned Fillmore over near Lake Piru. Just please check road conditions before you head out, because we're seeing surrounding traffic get pretty gnarly out there as 19,000 people are told to evacuate around Castaic due to this Hughes fire. I also wanted to mention, if people are evacuating, Valencia High School is the temporary evacuation center. Again, temporary, as it is in an evacuation warning zone. And we've now learned that the College of the Canyons will be the host site to a news conference set to begin around 4 o'clock this afternoon. So we expect to hear a little bit more on this firefight, how it's going, where they expect the winds to move this fire. Lauren, I know you were going over the mass amount of resources that we've seen from all the different agencies helping to fight this fire. But again, today at 4 p.m., College of the Canyons. Initially, we thought that would be an evacuation area, but we quickly learned they were prepping this area. Now we know for maybe a staging site, media, news conference, as this huge fire ballooned from 100 acres to 5,000 in only 2 hours. The last update we have as far as acreage was a couple, 2:34 p.m., so about 30 minutes ago. And at that time, it was still about 5,000 acres, but we expect to learn a lot more today at 4 during that news conference.
All right, Samantha, thank you for that. Let's check in with Rachel Menitoff once again. She was at a home where a gentleman's got his own pump in the swimming pool and he's watering his house down.
Yep.
Yeah, Glenn, Lauren, we're right off of Sloan Canyon Road. We're east of Castaic High School, which is obviously shut down. We're in a mountainous area with a lot of ranch homes, a lot of wildlife, as well as horses. This is a horse property over here. And this is Mike, you see over here. What he's doing is he's taking water from his pool. You can see him do it right now. It's difficult work, and it hasn't always been working as well as he wants it to, but he's taking water from his pool over here, and he's using that to hose down his home. He is in a mandatory evacuation zone, and he's ready to leave. You may be able to see his horses are packed up in a special horse trailer, and he's ready to go at a moment's notice, but he does want to help out the firefighters. In case the fire jumps the 5 freeway, he wants his home to be as well prepared as possible. So you can see what he's doing. He's using this generator of sorts to take the pool water and put it into the hose and essentially hose down his entire property. It's difficult work, and it's not always working as well as he would want it to. Now, the concern right now, the mountain ridge that we're looking at is we're looking west right now, and then the 405 freeway is just in front of us. It's hard to see because of the clouds of smoke. I would say that the smoke is becoming heavier as we're talking to you. So straight ahead west is a mountain ridge, then there's the 405 freeway, and the fire is on the other side of the 405 freeway. And Mike and others who live in this area are concerned that this fire is going to hop the freeway and come this way if those winds pick up. It's so unpredictable and hard to know. And the feeling we're getting from a lot of people who live in this area is that it is nerve-wracking. Not knowing which way this fire is going to move is what is so scary about it. They've watched what's been happening in the Palisades and in Altadena, and they know how quickly, things can change and how unpredictable these winds can be. Mike is just one person who lives up here, and the feeling we've been getting from a lot of people is this sense of nervousness, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
Lauren, Glenn.
absolutely. Understandable. Rachel, we thank you so much for that. So where Rachel is further west of the neighborhood where Alina Abovian has been reporting from, which is another area under mandatory evacuation order, which is a little bit closer to the fire at this point. And Alina, I believe we can check in with, or no, you know what? We'll check in with Alina in a bit. Let's check in with Kai Goldberg on the weather conditions, because is the wind blowing the fire towards this gentleman's home, Sloan Canyon? It's west of the 5.
Yeah, so it has across the 5.
It's so erratic right now. And of course, we have seen some of the ember spread taking some of this fire into Ventura County as well. We know we've had evacuations in the Lake Piru area and just to the north of the 126. So those are areas that are concerning us too. And you could hear the wind in the microphones right now. So the wind, not by any means at all has it calmed out. As a matter of fact, it's beginning to pick up once again. I'm taking a look at the area. We're looking at sustained winds at 20 miles per hour, gusts of up to 34 miles per hour. That humidity value at about 6% right now. So yeah, things are very dangerous, and we will unfortunately see the winds begin to pick up even more so as we head through the 4, 5, 6 o'clock hours, and the winds are going to stay at just about this level all the way through tomorrow afternoon and Thursday night. So firefighters have to try and get a good handle on this fire because it continues to spread. But unfortunately, the big issue as well is the extremely dry conditions that they're facing and all the fuels that are taking place right now. So we've got a red flag warning, we've got high wind warnings, we've got fire warnings for much of Los Angeles County as well. The good news is as we head in towards late Thursday and early Friday, we're going to begin to switch to an onshore flow, which is going to bring in cooler temperatures, more moisture. And as a matter of fact, for Saturday and Sunday, I'm forecasting rain for much of Southern California. This won't be a very big rain event, but we'll take whatever we can get, anywhere between a tenth to about, I'd say, a half of an inch forecasted for the time being, especially for some of these areas. Some of the areas that are in our foothills and our mountains could pick up some snow as we make our way through the weekend forecast as well. With the cold air coming into Southern California for Saturday and Sunday, we could see snow levels dipping down to about 4,000 feet. So again, that's going to help out quite greatly once we do make our way into the weekend here in Southern California. But for the time being, for this Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon as well, we're going to continue with the extreme fire weather danger for much of Southern California.
All right, Kai. All right, joining us on the phone now is Deputy Robert Jensen with the LA County Sheriff Department, Santa Clarita Station. Deputy, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can. How are you guys doing today?
We're good. How's evacuations going with the citizens of Castaic and the other areas there?
Thank you again for the opportunity to come on here and let everybody know. Folks, if you are issued an evacuation order, it is not a recommendation. Deputies are on the ground going door by door for over 31,000 people that are under evac order right now. We have another 24,000 under evac warning. That means in excess of 7,500 structures and about 70 under order and about 7,100 structures under warning. That is a lot of ground to cover. Please help us out as we attempt to help you. We learned from our mistakes a week or two ago, right, with Eaton and Palisades. If you get that order, please evacuate rapidly. I have animal shelter information for small animals. You're going to go to Palmdale, Agora, and Lancaster Animal Care Centers. And then if you have large animals, you can go to Pierce College for those larger animals. Again, I just want to emphasize we are currently at 5,300 acres. That was the last update as of about 30 minutes ago. I need you guys to heed those warnings, okay? I have deputies on the ground going door to door to try and begin this evacuation. The fire is moving south just a little bit, so we are beginning to see evacuations in the Tesoro, Del Valle community, as well as the Kelly Johnson, Biscaluz, San Francisco, and Reyes Adobe areas. Please check the protect.genesis app or the website to see if your zone has been put under evacuation order. There's a tremendous amount of support here at the command post. We're seeing agencies all across the county and the state, Cal Fire, Angeles National Forest, California Highway Patrol, LA County Fire, and then of course Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station getting assisted by various stations within LA County. Again, this is a huge incident. It's moving very quickly. The winds are not as strong as we saw last week, but they are definitely big enough to keep this wind or to keep the fire moving. So we appreciate the community's help. And again, just if you get a lawful order from a deputy sheriff or even a firefighter, please heed those warnings.
And Deputy Jensen.
Just a piece of update, or one more update as well. There was word that there was a temporary evacuation shelter set up. That is going to be at Hart High School, no other high school. So if you are fleeing the area, the temporary evacuation shelter is being set up at Hart High School.
So that is new information because prior to this, we had been saying Valencia High School. So that is not the case. You are saying it is Hart High School. That is where
Correct.
people that need somewhere to go, that are evacuating, can go. Deputy Jensen, these numbers have grown since we spoke to you last. The last time we talked to you, there were 19,000 people under mandatory evacuation orders. Now you're saying 31,000. So this has really grown in scope in terms of how many people are being impacted by these evacuations.
Correct. And it's a very small community. So you're going to have a lot of residences within one area. Again, you know, this is one of those things. We've shut down the freeway with the assistance of California Highway Patrol. So everybody leaving has a free and clear path to get out. We've shut down the traffic northbound on the 5 freeway at the 126, and southbound 5 freeway is going to be at, I believe it's Grapevine. So it is going to be a wide open area for you to get out. We've done that on purpose. So please take advantage of that.
Do you know if cell phone warnings are going out to those in the impacted areas as well?
Yes, cell phone warnings through Alert LA are happening. They are accurate. I know there was some concern and some skepticism with that the last round of fires that we had, but no, as far as I'm aware, all the alerts that are going out are accurate. I myself have gotten like 3 or 4 just for the different areas that I'm standing in, but no, they are accurate. If you get that notice, please go. Also, if you're next to an area that's been put under order and you're only under a warning, that is for our special populations. If it's going to take you a little bit longer to get your stuff and get out of here, if you're elderly or any kind of special population, view that warning as an order.
Deputy, with evacuations orders now for areas like Tesoro and Duvalier, obviously some real concern this is going to could jump the 5 freeway.
You know what? I'm not privy to that right now. There is a tremendous effort that's on display right now. I mean, we have airships overhead. We've got helicopters, a huge amount of resources being deployed, like I said, from Angeles National Forest, U.S. Forestry, LA County Fire. I'm just looking around the parking lot right now. Cal Fire is here on standby, ready to go. So we're attacking it from the front, it looks like.
Where are you? Where is Unified Command? Where is the command post? Where are you guys operating out of?
We're about 5 miles just south of the fire.
All right, Deputy, thank you for the information and the warnings for people to,
Heed
evacuate
the warnings.
now.
Yeah,
Evacuate
yeah.
now.
Please do.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go to Alina Abovian. She's been in that one particular cul-de-sac most of the day.
Pinecrest Place.
Pinecrest Place. Alina?
Lauren, Glenn, we've actually, as you can notice from the shot that we have up here right now, we are in a different location. This is Ridge Route Road, and you can see those dozers. They are creating a line there. There's a fire very dangerously close to, it looks like an apartment building, possibly a hotel. You can see there are firefighters there. They're flanking the fire. And this was pretty big a few minutes ago, but thankfully we do have boots on the ground. We have crews here on the ground, and they do have the upper hand when it comes to this fire right here that broke out just a few minutes ago. Very close call, though. Just a few moments ago, flames were getting really high, probably reaching about 20 feet or so and getting very close to those structures there. But thankfully, there is a fire station right here, several engines, dozens of firefighters on the ground, and you can see 2 dozers there creating that line and creating structural protection for this area. This is an area which, if we pan over this way, you can also see, just to paint the picture for you guys, major streets here on this side, Ridge Route Road, and then also this is close to Templin Highway. This is the street we took up earlier to get into that community, and we're just south of it right now. You can see residents there lingering around, kind of watching the trajectory of this fire, and a bit of it did jump to this area, but thankfully fire crews were on standby. They were able to create a line, and now it seems like they have put it out as far as this area goes. Just to look, we do see some black smoke on this side, possibly another little flare up here, but thankfully lots of fire personnel here. Armando, our photojournalist, if we come over this way, please, you can see more flames off into the distance there. That is just west of us. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of these little spot fires as a result of this fire. Where we were earlier, we were looking down into that area, noticing how the fire was traveling in a southwest area where the flank of the fire was moving. And now it's jumping to these little areas here, possibly because of flying embers, flying debris. Thankfully, the wind, not really a factor right now, but you can see little spots popping up everywhere, and they're just doing their best to keep it contained and to keep it away from the homes here and for the people who are in this area. We'll send it back to you for now.
Alina, we thank you so much for that live report. Great work you're doing out there, showing us the situation on the ground and those bulldozers out there cutting line, trying to get this fire, fire break so that the fire doesn't go past this. We really appreciate that. We'll check back in with you in just a short time. Let's go back up to the air. Gil Lavis in Sky 5 over this fire. Gil, what are you seeing as we approach the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour?
Yeah, Lauren and Glenn, I'm showing you the 5 freeway. I'll bring in our map system to get an idea of where the fire is burning. It's burning very close to the 5 freeway. As I zoom in here, you see one of the hot spots here. This is to the east side of the freeway, but not too far from the 5 freeway. So far, from what we can tell, it has not jumped the 5 freeway yet, but this is burning just south of Lake Hughes Road, and as you can see, the 5 is completely shut down at this point. As I come back to the right, I can tell you that there's a big line of fire here. Now, we did go to the north side of the fire, the northern flank of the fire. We could see the lake. We could see the helicopters working in the lake, pulling water and dropping on the northern flank of the fire. The northern flank of the fire is looking really good right now, but it's this southern flank, southeastern flank of the fire that's raging out of control here and pushing the flames towards the 5 freeway. Again, 5 freeway shut down through the Grapevine in both directions. You see the heavy smoke coming across the 5 freeway right there. But again, a lot of activity on the southern and southeastern flank of the fire. That's where the tankers are working further up the canyon to drop fire retardant lines in that area. But again, heavy smoke, heavy flames seen from the southern flank of the fire right now as I come out to a wide shot. And we're going to make a right turn here real quick. But
okay, we're having some issues with Gil Shop, but he gave us a good overview of what we're looking at with the fire from overhead. And then on the ground, we just see conditions. They look really windy, Kai.
Yeah. Well, we're still, and I'm looking at some conditions right now. There's gusts, pardon me, along the fire lines right now, anywhere between about 32 to 35 miles per hour. The sustained wind speeds anywhere between 18 to 20. So they're still dealing with some strong sustained winds. That's a big issue that they're having as well. You don't just need those gusts to come in and punch some of that fire through the fire lines, but the sustained winds behind this fire are still quite active as well. But again, fortunately, this is not an event where we're looking at gusts of up to 80, 90, 100 miles per hour. This is not that. And that's why we're lucky to see the helicopters as well as the fixed wing be able to stay up in the skies and deliver the water as well as the retardant on many of the areas surrounding the Castaic Lake area. And the big issue, of course, also is the smoke, the heavy smoke that continues to travel through the Southern California atmosphere. So that's is another issue that we're dealing with this afternoon as well. And we've been hearing good advice. If you can see some of that smoke to the north of your property, if it's right on top of your property and it's coming from that northerly direction, well, then it's time to heed that warning, because where there's smoke, there is typically fire.
Are the winds supposed to stay about what they are now?
They're going to get a little stronger through the evening hours. We're looking at gusts, and right now they're starting to get a little stronger. Throughout much of the day today, we've seen the gusts anywhere between 29 to 32 miles per hour. But now I'm picking up some 34 mile per hour wind gusts, and I can expect to see those wind gusts making their way to 40, 45, and possibly 50 miles per hour as we head into the night tonight. By tomorrow morning, we're still going to see the winds gusting into these areas anywhere between 30, 35, and 40 miles per hour. And it will stay that way all the way through your Thursday afternoon and evening. And the red flag warning will stick around through tomorrow night as well. And the high wind warnings still available for much of these regions here, especially LA Ventura County, as we make our way through the night tonight and to much of the day tomorrow and Thursday as well. So dangerous fire conditions. But finally, as I've been saying, once we head into Friday, the atmosphere will switch. We'll start to see more moisture coming into Southern California, and there's a chance of rain here for both Saturday and Sunday. And boy, do we need rain. We have not had rain in hundreds of days for Southern California.
And we just saw a water drop on the right side of your screen, as we've also been seeing Castaic Lake be used as, it's like a car to a gas station, there are all these helicopters are going, filling up, and then going and dropping the water. The proximity to Castaic Lake has been good in that sense, because there's that water source right next to the fire that firefighters are able to use to attack it from the air, as we are seeing them do.
Do you think, Kai, the winds are going to get high enough tonight where they may have to ground the aircraft?
No, I don't think you will see winds gusting more than 50, 55 miles per hour at the very most. But, they'll have all of the tools of the trade in terms of the radar, the tracking, so they can see the hot spots, know where to go. Obviously, when the sun goes down, they'll be able to see the flame a lot easier. And, that's part of the game that they'll play tonight. And they'll do that choreographed dance as they come up off the lakes, go back up, come back down, go back up. And boy, they're just amazing aviators, these folks up in the skies for us this afternoon.
It even looks on the right side of the screen. You can see the progress that's been made as we've just had our camera trained on this position here.
Yeah, but
on the ground.
there are other areas.
Yeah. On the left.
Like,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the left.
Where it's hard to get a handle
Yeah.
on some of this topography because there are steep gullies, canyons, and as this fire moves uphill, it moves faster, and that's playing a big part in the firefight this afternoon as well.
And rugged terrain, trees that burn hot.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of oils inside of
Which
these trees, so once
very
they're burned,
flammable.
they're very flammable.
Yeah.
They often explode,
Mhm.
and those oils help fuel the flames.
Yeah, those are the ones where we see the really black smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's bring in Samantha Cortese again from the newsroom with some more information for us.
Hi, Glenn, Luke. Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody what you're seeing at the bottom of your screen there, that the new evacuation center is at Hart High School. CAL FIRE initially had that at Valencia High School, but Valencia High School ended up in an evacuation zone. So now the temporary evacuation point is at Hart High School. That's on Newhall Avenue in Santa Clarita. And to mention about animal evacuations, Agora Animal Care Center has let us know they are full. They are no longer accepting animals at Agora Animal Care Center, but they say other animal shelters remain available. That includes Palmdale and Lancaster Animal Center. For large animals, Lancaster and Pierce College remain open for any large animal evacuations. As we heard Sheriff Deputy Jensen say from Santa Clarita, that there are now 31,000 people asked to evacuate because of this fire. So a lot of people trying to leave at one time. Traffic is looking, when traffic doesn't appear red on a map, it's kind of that dark maroon color because it is so jam-packed. That's what we're seeing around this area. As a reminder, the 5 is closed through the Grapevine today, and we are continuing to watch for any further closures, evacuations. Right now, it looks like in Ventura County, there's a mandatory order just to the west of Lake Piru, and just to the south of that, there's an evacuation warning. Again, I-5 through the Grapevine is closed. Northbound I-5, all lanes closed, just south of State Route 126. So we'll continue to watch for any updates. And one thing I also wanted to mention, that news conference is now going to be held at 5 p.m. today, not 4 p.m. So they're going to gather some more information for the community. Multiple different agencies responding to this. CAL FIRE, Ventura County Fire. We're seeing incredible support from the air as this fire has now grown to 5,300 acres as of 3:15 this afternoon.
All right, Sam, we really appreciate you keeping us up to date on all of that. A lot of important information there if you're in the area impacted by this fire at all. And we are seeing the air show right now on the right and the left, the helicopters, the fixed wing. Look at that Boss Check Drop fire retardant. They've been painting those hills to try to stop the spread, slow the spread of the fire, and then dousing it with water to try to put out those flames. Gil Levis overhead, monitoring it all. What can you tell us about the resources you're seeing in the sky, Gil?
Well, yeah, Lauren, they're definitely hitting this edge of the fire here. This is the furthest east of the burn scar itself. This is a point of origin up in this area. You can see the fire retardant lines that have been dropped in this area ahead of the fire and dropping. The good news is some of the tankers can go to Fox Field up in the Lancaster area to refuel their tanks with the fire retardant, and then back on the scene relatively quickly. On the northern flank of the fire, the helicopters are working the drops on that side of the flank of the fire, and I can tell you that side looks a whole lot better than this side. This is the south and eastern flank of the fire. You can see all the smoke that is billowing out towards the 5 freeway. As I come back to the left here, you'll see more active flames, a really big hot spot putting up really dark smoke here. Look at that, and the terrain here is pretty steep, pretty rugged, but the brush in there is so thick. It's unbelievable to see how thick that brush is. It hasn't burned in quite a while, and it is putting up a lot of dark smoke here. If you were in the Santa Clarita Valley, you could look up in this area, and you'll see that thick, dark smoke just billowing up into the sky. And all the fire line here that stretches towards the 5 freeway, just in some very heavy brush. Now, if there is any good news, there was previous burns in this area before, and the fuels are lighter. As I come to the left here, you'll see that the hills there have less of that thick brush, and so that's going to help definitely with the firefighting activity, as well as the ridge fire that burned a couple years ago on the west side of Lake Castaic. That was about 5,000 acres that burned along the 5 freeway, and so they'll have less fuels, at least in that area, to contend with because of that fire a couple years ago. But here's a look back at the 5 freeway, all that smoke going over the 5 freeway, and the closest point of fire that we can see right now is here, just south of Lake Hughes, and you can see a helicopter working that fire line right now. It's maybe about a mile from the 5 freeway.
All right. Gil Lavis, thank you for that update. Alino Boving spent a good part of the day on Pinecrest Place off Ridge Route Road, watching and talking to people who were packing up, getting ready to evacuate while keeping a close eye on those flames. Last report, Alina, you were out on Ridge Route Road, and it was pretty windy where you are. Where are you? The same spot or somewhere different now?
I got to switch my battery.
Hi, Glenn. No, we keep moving around because we want to give you guys different vantage points. Right now, we are on Castaic Road, and this is Tapia Canyon Road. And as you can see, this is the front flank of the fire, and this is a pretty incredible shot here. As you guys can see, this huge cloud of black smoke. You can see how actively the fire is burning, and also the fire personnel down here. That's LA County Fire Department. Also CAL FIRE is here, several agencies, several strike teams. This is a look at the firefight from the ground. They are creating lines in order to keep the fire from reaching. There's the 5 freeway right next to us here. That's a really big factor. They want to definitely keep the fire from reaching the 5 freeway. Additionally, just looking at the map here, I can probably tell you there is an RV park here. It's called Parkway RV, and we did see a lot of people in that area earlier who did evacuate. So that's the good news there, but still a lot of structures in this area potentially in the path of this fire. But the good news is there's a great presence on the ground, and they are doing their very best to ensure that the fire does stay as contained as possible. You can see several fire engines here off into the distance. Again, this is Castaic Road, and it's just incredible to see this huge plume of black smoke hovering right here above us, and that speaks to the direction of this fire, and it's moving in our direction. The front flank of that fire, where we were earlier in that neighborhood speaking to those residents, we were looking down into this area, and we noticed that the fire was moving southwest. So we made the decision to come down to be able to see the direction that the fire is moving. And now being here on the ground, you are seeing where it is exactly. This is just west of the 5 freeway. So all eyes on the 5 freeway at this point, all eyes on the front flank of the fire, ensuring that it stays contained and does not reach. There's a hotel in this area, and again, there is an RV park in this area, and several homes as well. So a lot of attention here, specifically in this location. Lauren, Glenn?
Lena, I'm just wondering if you could walk us through, the last neighborhood you were in, how far of a drive it was to get where you are now, and just sort of where you are in relation to that. My sense is you went further west. Is that right or no?
We did. We further west, southwest, that neighborhood just north of us, maybe about 2 miles, a 5-minute drive. I mean, it's still very, very close if you think about it as far as how far we are. When we first got here, I want to say around noon, that's where the closure was. Very large presence of LA County deputies, sheriff's deputies, closing that area off. I'm not sure if you remember, but that's where residents were being turned away because at that point it was too late. If they had not left already, they were being told not to try to go back into those communities. So now we are just south of that area. And again, this is Castaic. So just to show you where the fire has traveled, people up in that neighborhood, they can certainly look down and see the fire. So it doesn't look like it's going to move in that direction. Just looking at the trajectory of the fire, just looking at the wind, it seems like it's moving further down south, further west. But, oh, look at those flames there, guys. Definitely things kicking up there in the distance. You can see firefighters standing right near it. That is the front flank of the fire. Firefighters on the ground, and several fire engines there too. Really, really intense situation here, guys. And that's pretty close to us. I'm not sure how you're able to see it as far as the
Oh, we can see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
can
can
see
see it
it
just
very
fine.
clearly,
where
Alina.
we
Yeah,
are and
yeah.
you know how far. Yeah, you can see it. It's I want to say maybe less than a mile away from where we are, and it's moving pretty quickly, guys. I mean, the wind is not, it's not that strong, but again, flying embers. There's so much dry brush down here. I mean, look at all these trees. They're power lines. It's just a perfect storm for something bigger. But thankfully for all the fire personnel down here, a lot of boots on the ground, and they're really watching where this fire is going. You saw two of those tractor trailers earlier creating the line, and that's really what they're doing. But just to show you where we are, we're right next to the 5 freeway. So it's a situation that really requires a lot of attention given where the fire is and how close it could get to these communities and to the 5 freeway.
Well, that seems to be the critical concern is this fire marching toward the 5 freeway. Hopefully not crossing, but again, even before the 5 freeway, they could take out a lot of homes. So the fight continues, and the thing is, they're dealing with these steady winds.
It's really about the flying debris, the flying embers.
Yeah.
Have you, Alina?
Yeah,
let me
it really
just
comes
ask.
down to flying debris, flying embers. We're seeing it everywhere.
Are you in the areas that you've been? Have you been having embers where you are? Or no, you're just saying that that's the concern with the fire, that it comes out in its spots. But has any of that reached any of the areas where you are? Seems like no, not yet, right?
No, it hasn't reached this area, but we're seeing a lot of flying debris. So it's possible that we would get flying embers. Because, yeah, I mean, it's everywhere, but thankfully it's, none that are active, but it's certainly a possibility.
Great. Yes, of course. Yeah, no, just wanted to clarify that. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll check back in with you in a bit. On another area of the fire on the ground, we have our Rachel Menitoff. Rachel, where are you at this stage?
Lauren, we're on Lake Hughes Road right now, right off of the Parker Road exit of the 5. I want to show you, we're right next to the Castaic Lagoon, and the helicopters are actually able to dip down, scoop up water from the lagoon over here. You can see this helicopter going up right now into the hills, into the wilderness. They just took a large gulp of water from the lagoon, and they're able to use that to fight this firefight. And I'm joined here by Battalion Chief. Tell me your first and last name, please.
Brent Pasqua.
Brent Pasqua, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about the trajectory of this fire.
So this is another fast-moving Santa Ana wind-driven fire. Very serious fire, much like the Palisades. The winds aren't as strong, so we're able to fly our aircraft, our air tankers, our helicopters. So that's good news, silver lining, if you will, in this fire.
I see some of the flames in the distance over here in this wilderness area. Am I correct that no structures are threatened at this time, and it's been contained to kind of this forested area?
Yeah, I don't know for sure as far as the structures. There has to be some threatened because this is just a fast-moving fire and it's headed in that direction. So again, our message is if you get an evacuation warning or order, please leave as soon as you can.
I know one of the concerns is this fire jumping the 5 freeway. Can you tell me about the direction that it's moving in right now from your perspective?
Yeah, definitely. It's headed that way. It has the possibility to jump if it hasn't yet. The winds are super strong out here. I'd say 20 to 30 miles an hour, which again is still good because we can use our aircraft.
So when the winds pick up, are you saying there's a point at which you cannot use your aircrafts?
Right. Yeah, I just came from the Palisades fire to here. In our first 2 days over there, we could only use them off and on because the wind gusts were over 50 miles an hour.
Okay, so between 20 and 30 sounds like kind of a sweet spot for your aircraft.
Well, as long as we're still able to fly, that's good. That means retardant or water's getting to the ground, and with our ground troops, we can get in there and fight the fire.
For people who are maybe driving on the 5 freeway, what do you want them to know? We were on the 5, we saw heavy plumes of smoke. What should drivers in the area be aware of?
Yeah, when I was coming this way, I could see a lot of smoke as well. If you can, I'd say stop and go back and see if maybe you can have dinner outside of this area. There's just so much engines and things on the freeway trying to get by the traffic that's already there. So not a good place to be.
Just in terms of the conditions, very dry. We haven't had rain in something like 300 days. Can you talk about the conditions out here, the dryness, the vegetation, and how this makes a fire like this one so difficult to fight for you guys?
Yeah, Rachel, that's correct. Everything's coming together. We're getting the winds, we're getting the low humidities, and this brush hasn't seen any moisture in so long. So that all combined together is just making this fire spread extremely fast.
You have a couple of water sources, I noticed. Castaic Lagoon, perhaps Lake Hughes. Are you utilizing these water resources?
Absolutely. This is great turnaround time for our helicopters. They can dip in, get it quickly, the water to the fire quickly to help our firefighters.
Battalion Chief, thank you so much for talking with us, and we're wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, stay safe.
All right, thank you.
Lauren, Glenn, again, we're on Lake Hughes Road. We're right near the 5 freeway. The whole point of the operation over here has been to try to prevent this fire from jumping the 5, but it is moving quite quickly. My photographer, Jeff, is pointing me over to some flames in the distance over here. This is on Lake Hughes Road, about a quarter of a mile ahead of us. All of this area, much of this area is wilderness. But now the fire and the winds are moving in the direction of homes, and the concern is it's going to jump the freeway. We've got Castaic Lagoon over here. Aircraft carriers have been able to dip in and out. That's been a really helpful resource. But the winds are between 20 and 30 miles per hour, as you heard. They're still able to use their aircraft carriers. And here's another one right above us. LA County Fire. And they are going back and forth, trying to refuel and hit this fire, doing the best they can. Difficult conditions. A lot of these firefighters, the battalion chief we just talked to, they're coming from the Palisades fire. So as you can imagine, they have been extraordinarily busy under just terribly difficult conditions. Lauren, Glenn.
Yeah, we heard from officials that, some are coming from the Eaton fire. So It's been just quite a month for first responders. Rachel, thank you so much to you. Thank you to the first responders for all of their hard work on these fires. You're seeing 2 vantage points right now on the ground and in the sky of the Hughes fire. She was on Lake Hughes Road. That's why it's called the Hughes fire, because it started in that proximity around 10:30 this morning, just after that. And here we are at 3:45 now with 31,000 people under mandatory evacuation orders.
Yeah, and again, there's concern about this fire, advancing in the southeast direction, also directly south of here on the side of the freeway. You've got Valencia, you've got Santa Clarita, actually on both sides of the freeway, but there is concern, down there. I mean, it's not that far away, and they're watching very closely. And our Kimberly Chang is right now in a neighborhood in Valencia where residents there are keeping a close eye on this fire. Kimberly?
Glenn, hi. We're in a neighborhood south of the fire. This is in Valencia. The neighborhood is called Tesoro del Valle. And if you take a look right behind me, you can see from this neighborhood the smoke from that Hughes fire in Castaic, just miles away from here. I have Dr. Chris Avelino, a homeowner in the Tesoro del Valle neighborhood, who is in the middle of evacuating. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, Chris.
Absolutely.
How are you feeling right now? Your family just left in separate cars.
Definitely an angst, kind of shocked, but kind of knew that we were always in jeopardy, as we had to evacuate about 15 years ago as well. So, it's just kind of a drag, really, but we've got to take it seriously. Safety is the most important. I'm glad my family's already left.
You said that you were on your way home early from work, taking a half day. You expected to relax, then you got here and the alert came on your phone.
Yeah, that was about 30 to 45 minutes ago. I wasn't too sure how serious it was. But then you start looking around, all your neighbors are getting ready to leave, and we're like, okay, we got to get packed up. We were preparing after the fires down south, as well as the Eaton fire. So we kind of had a plan, a little bit of what we wanted to do, but obviously we were hoping we never had to put it in action. So when it happens, still a little frazzled. My wife had just called me and said, hey, make sure you get the wedding albums because we forgot that. And so
you ran in quickly. I saw you grab a bunch of photo albums. What else did you take with you?
Well, we took a lot of the, now that everything's digital, We took our computers, laptops, since they have a lot of our memories and stuff like that, stuff we couldn't really replace. And obviously just closed for tomorrow, just in case.
Chris, you were telling me earlier, even though you went through this 15 years ago and you saw what happened in the Palisades, you saw what happened with the Eaton fire, that when it was your turn, you're under mandatory evacuation order, that it's different. The feeling is different.
It absolutely is. You know, when you see it on TV, it's one thing, but when it's happening to you, suddenly your mind is racing and there's so many things going on that it becomes much harder than you think it is. So I think that planning out a little bit further probably would have been more effective rather than just having a general idea of what to do.
You mentioned when you saw your neighbors starting to get ready, that's what kind of kicked it into high gear. And I do want our photojournalist, Jose, to take a look down the street because we do see a lot of people loading up things into cars and getting ready to evacuate right now. And you said when you saw that, you said, you know what, I better go better safe than sorry.
Absolutely. That's when we started really taking it seriously that, hey, you know, other people are leaving, you know, so it's time for us to take charge as well and get out of here. So.
You told me when you look behind us here that it obviously makes you nervous.
It does. When we evacuated before, it was down south. Now, right behind us, seeing this huge plume of smoke, you know, if that first house goes, we're pretty close to each other. You know, the entire neighborhood can go, and we don't want it to be like Pacific Palisades when we saw all those homes burn down.
Dr. Chris, can you take a walk right here with me? Because I find it interesting. You were mentioning that one of your neighbors, he bought this gadget and you thought, I should have gotten one of those.
Yeah, he was telling me that he had seen one of the homes in Pacific Palisades. They saved his house by having a sprinkler on his roof. And so he bought this contraption. You didn't let us know. I wish you would. We would have got the same thing because that looks fantastic.
Well, hopefully, you know, we saw some aircraft in the air earlier. We know there are a lot of personnel on this fire. So hopefully you'll have a chance to get one of those and put it on your house.
Yeah.
And we do see a lot of neighbors loading up their stuff, getting ready to evacuate this area. You said that 15 years ago you had to evacuate. What was that like?
Yeah, that was actually much scarier because they had police coming down with a bullhorn saying, you got to leave now. So we didn't have much time. Here we have more time. There was an alert. Within a few minutes, the police were coming down with the bullhorn saying, you got to leave right now. And
so they came through the neighborhood with the bullhorn already?
Yeah, and so it was a lot different there. It would seem scarier. So we didn't really take anything that time. We just left. Yeah.
I noticed when we were walking in or driving in rather that the law enforcement, they had already created a block at the bottom of the road here. Have you talked to any of your neighbors who may be at work and still trying to make their way here?
No, I haven't, but I know my cousin actually lives down the hill from us, just in the same neighborhood, and he had seen that they were roadblocking. So if you leave, you can't come back. So take everything, is what he told me. Yeah.
Okay. And you feel pretty confident you got everything that you need right now?
I'm pretty sure. Luckily, we had about 30 to 45 minutes. We were able to get everything we needed.
Okay, thank you so much for being generous with your time. I know you have to go. You have a safe place to go, and we wish you all of the best. I'm not going to hold you up any longer.
And I just want to congratulate, really thank the fire department for the great work they do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. So again, he's getting ready to go. His family has already left. And if you take a look around here in this neighborhood, you can see there are several people out right now. And as we were driving up, we did see people just loading up their cars, getting ready to go. We'll spin back around here so you can see in the Tesoro del Valle neighborhood here in Valencia. That is what they can see overhead, just this large plume of smoke. And even as we were driving in, I mean, we could see that large plume of smoke all the way from the Sepulveda Basin area, Silmar, Stevenson Ranch, and coming into Valencia. We could definitely see it. People here on this street taking things very seriously under mandatory evacuation order, and many of them are already leaving right now. Reporting live here in Valencia, I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Yeah, and Kim, I thought that resident had really good advice about preparing, because when you're in that sort of crisis moment of being told you got to go, your mind can get it's not clear all the time, depending on, your situation. And so I thought that was good advice. And also the neighbor that has taken some cues from what he's seen in some of our recent fires and installed a sprinkler on his roof.
Well, the fact that she's in Valencia just reminds me, there's a lot of people, including a lot of our colleagues,
Yeah.
that live up there,
Yes,
and they come
a
down here
lot.
to work
Yes.
into the city.
Indeed.
So this, broke out this morning. They were probably, Hollywood, downtown Los Angeles, had to hop in their cars and head back home.
We've got to text them and check in with them. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right about that. Let's go check in actually with Samantha Cortese. Sam, you are in the newsroom with some new information. The acreage has really increased. Now, look at that, 8,000.
Yes, CAL FIRE just released an update. This fire is now burning 8,000 acres in Castaic. And something I just wanted to mention, because we've been talking about power safety shutoffs. Right now, SoCal Edison has on its website about 2,200 customers in LA County are without power due to those power safety shutoffs. SoCal Edison will proactively turn off the power in areas that are at risk of winds and fire. They don't want anything to spark during a high wind event. So they proactively turned off power to about 2,300 customers in LA County, another 65, it looks like, in Ventura County. But there's a possibility that about 40,000 more customers in LA County. So customer means house. So multiple people, not multiple customers, not necessarily people. It could be a lot more people affected by power safety shutoffs. Again, 39,000 customers could lose their power in LA County, and Ventura County, another 34,000. Wow, this is really incredible to watch, Glenn and Lauren, all this air support coming in. I loved what CAL FIRE Battalion Chief Brent Pasqua said about the turnaround for these aircraft, able to go in, grab water, and quickly create a barrier or put water out on top of these fires, which we were, wow, I mean, that is spectacular to watch. Something we weren't able to see on Tuesday, January 7th, when the Palisades fire broke out. So it is encouraging to see this, as they are concerned this fire will hop over the 5 freeway. Just wanted to mention as well that news conference will be held at College of the Canyons at 5 o'clock this afternoon. We, of course, will carry that. And Hart High School is now the temporary evacuation center for the 31,000 people who are being asked to leave their home during this Hughes fire. It was initially Valencia High School, but that's also being considered an evacuation order zone. So Hart High School for evacuees. Did want to mention, for those with animals, the Agora Animal Center is full. So Palmdale and Lancaster are 2 options for citizens looking to go somewhere with their small animals. Large animals can go to Lancaster Animal Care Center or Pierce College. A lot of people out there with horses, and it's encouraging to see our reporters talking to people who proactively were getting their animals and getting them out, even as they were maybe in evacuation warnings, not orders, because we know it can get pretty dicey if you wait till the last minute with those large animals. As far as Castaic Unified School District, the update there is that all students have been picked up, all are accounted for. But tomorrow, it is more than likely, according to the superintendent, that schools will be closed due to air quality. We're still keeping an eye out on that, not confirmed yet, but we did hear from Bob Bronison during our, I believe, 1 o'clock hour, who said it's more than likely that schools in the Castaic Unified School District will be closed tomorrow. So we're watching a lot of different aspects of this, and definitely need to reiterate that the 5 is closed through the Grapevine and northbound I-5, all lanes closed north of State Route 126. So all lanes of the northbound 5 at State Route 126 and the Grapevine closed until further notice.
All right, Samantha Cortese in the newsroom, thank you. As we approach the 4 o'clock hour, I think it's kind of obvious at this point, with more than 8,000 acres burned, that this is going to be a multi-day event for firefighters. Kai, what kind of conditions are firefighters looking at tonight and tomorrow?
Well, unfortunately, Lauren, Glenn, it's not going to get any better in terms of the winds and also the extreme dry conditions that are here, not only along the fire lines, but all of Southern California. So things are going to pretty much stay the same. As a matter of fact, as we are now making our way here into the 4 o'clock hour, the gusts are beginning to get a little bit stronger. I'm monitoring, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, gusts to 34 miles per hour. Humidity value That's the big cause for concern. Look at that, 6%. It is bone dry outside in the Santa Clarita Valley in the Castaic area. And as we take a look at the future cast, we'll watch these winds continue to get a little stronger as we make our way into the 7, 8 o'clock hours this Wednesday night. So a little bit more widespread, if you will, down into the San Fernando Valley, all the way out to the Ventura County shoreline. And these exact areas continue to see the winds gusting up to 45 miles per hour as we make our way into your Thursday morning. Here we go into Thursday afternoon, Thursday night. Finally, as we head into early Friday morning, you can see the winds relaxing, and that'll make way for an onshore flow that will arrive late Friday night into Saturday morning. And then the very good news is that we've got a chance for rain coming to Southern California. And again, that'll take place for both Saturday as well as Sunday. But again, look at those winds. Finally, there you see it by Friday afternoon, Friday night. That is an onshore flow that returns to Southern California. But the all-important red flag warning, well, it stays in place until tomorrow morning right now for much of Southern California until about 10 a.m. That includes Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, Ventura counties, along with LA County, of course. The exceptions being much of the LA basin, the San Gabriel Valley as well, and the high wind warning. And that's just to the south of the fire lines right there. They're right on the cusp of it. So we're going to include them in this high wind warning until tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock with gusts anywhere between 50 to about 55 miles per hour. That could be in the offering. Now, what we're taking a look at here is the little bit of drier conditions, if you will, that will become more available as we head through the night tonight. And you can see that area of low pressure continuing to stay off the northern California coastline. But I was referring to the fact that we could see rain as we head into the weekend forecast. We're dry tomorrow. We're still staying dry as we head into Friday afternoon, but take a look. A little bit of moisture starts to move into the atmosphere as we make our way into Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. This could mean anywhere between drizzle to some light showers. And once we make our way into late Saturday night, Sunday of this weekend, well, not only are we seeing shower and rain chances, but the pink returns that you see in the mountains, that's a chance for some snow coming to the local mountains. So it's going to get cold here in Southern California. We're talking about snow levels that will make their way and descend down to about 4,000 feet. And once we make our way into Monday afternoon of next week, there's a chance we could pick up anywhere between about 2 to 4 inches of snowfall in some of our mountain communities. So again, that's really good news. And you can see that moisture sticking around all the way until Monday morning and Monday afternoon of next week. So we do have better weather conditions on the way, Lauren and Glenn, but it's going to be quite a few days until we get there. But for the night tonight, and Glenn, you mentioned that this could be a multi-day event, because I don't think that firefighters can get a really good handle on such a huge fire with over 8,000 acres burned as we make our way through the night tonight.
All right, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. All right, the time now is 3:59. If you're just joining us, this is the KTLA 5 News at 4 o'clock. I'm Glenn Walker.
I'm Lauren Lister, and for, well, I guess at this point, I'm in for Lou, I'm in for someone else. We're here at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're continuing this coverage
Yeah.
of the Hughes fire.
Which we've been on since the KTLA 5 News at 11 a.m. this morning. This fire continues to burn up in Castaic, around Castaic Lake. And we're going to check in with Alina Abovian, who has started her day in a cul-de-sac with people packing up their belongings and preparing to evacuate if the flames got too close. Alina, where are you now?
Glenn, we're now on Charlie Canyon Road, and as you said, we are following this fire now. And just take a look behind me. It is now cresting the ridge, moving very rapidly in this direction. Now you can see that chopper up there, very close to the fire. Not sure how close it's going to get, if it's getting ready to make a water drop or not, but a lot of attention being paid to the flank, to this flank right here, to where this fire is moving. This is west of where we were earlier, southwest of where we were earlier, and just west of us is Valencia. So very sensitive situation here, pretty severe situation here. You can see that the fire is taking up a big portion of the ridge there and just moving its way down. It is cresting and is probably going to come over the ridge to this area, but luckily on the ground we do have fire engines, a lot of boots on the ground, and not sure how they're going to attack this from the ground, what direction they're going to go in, but they are aware that it is moving in this direction, and this is again, west of the community where we were earlier. Lauren, Glenn.
All right, Alina, thank you so much for that. So we have been watching this fire just go from 10:38 this morning when it was first reported, 50-acre brush fire, to exploding to 8,000 plus acres in size in the hours that have followed, driven by red flag conditions that Kai has been talking about, the wind and the low humidity, the dry fuel. You can see how that is all fanning these flames, but the winds are not too gusty to where it would impact the ability to fight this from the air. And we have seen a steady stream of helicopters and fixed wing aircraft and the super scoopers all out attacking this from above. And we have crews from CAL FIRE, LA County Fire, Forest Service, all on the ground too. Let's go now to Kimberly Chang, who is live in Valencia. This is the latest neighborhood to be impacted. Kimberly, this is a mandatory evacuation area now?
Yes, they're under evacuation order. So people are told to leave right away. I'm standing here with Braden Brauneisen, who has lived here in the Tesoro de Valle neighborhood in Valencia for years now. And he actually says that he's no stranger to evacuating. He's done it multiple times since you were young.
Yeah, that's right. Evacuation is something I'm not really too unfamiliar with. We're able to do it a couple times. It's not the best thing, but when they order you to go ahead and leave, it's best to follow their orders. But it's always good to be prepared, so that's what we're doing.
How did you figure out you were under evacuation order? Did you get the alert on your phone?
Yeah, so my brother actually got the alert. I don't know how I didn't receive it first, but he got it, so I was able to hear that loud noise and then realize that something bad was happening, so we need to go ahead and get out of there. I mean, obviously, seeing the smoke behind us, we were able to see that there was something, but getting that alert really just kind of told us that we had to get going and get out of there.
We can see the smoke here that you're referring to right behind us. You said you looked out into your backyard. When you saw that, what was going through your mind?
I saw that smoke, and at first, I tried to downplay it a little bit and think maybe it's not too bad, but as I was able to kind of step outside and even go into the front yard and take a look from in front of my house, I realized that this was something that was really serious. We needed to get going, and obviously we've seen the devastation of the previous fires that have happened in California the last week or two, and we can't, we just need to take it seriously. And so we had to go and get our stuff, pack the bags, grabbing the necessities. That's really what I was thinking in the moment.
Your mom was just here a second ago, and she was telling me that she has a friend who was impacted by the Palisades fire, that she lost her home, and that really kind of made her start thinking we really have to prepare, because it's different when you say I'm going to prepare and when it happens to you. So she printed out this list that you have in your hand. Can you show it to the viewers at home and just talk about what you were able to grab?
Yeah, so this is a list that she was able to print out, and she sent us a picture of it because she had it on her phone. But she also put it on the door too, so we were able to, see on our way out. That way we had our bags packed. If there's anything that we were missing, we could go ahead and we could reference this list. And so she's the best. She always makes sure that we're prepared. She's one of those, type of people that really cares about us more than her own things too. So it's really huge that she was able to get this ready for us. That way we make sure we're not forgetting anything that we would regret losing.
That is so smart of your mom. And I want to show them at home one more time. So she made this list. What are the 6 P's of evacuation? You can see here at the top, of course, people and pets, the most important thing. Papers, phone numbers, important documents, prescriptions, vitamins, eyeglasses, pictures, irreplaceable memorabilia, personal computer, hard drive and discs, plastic, credit cards, ATM or debit cards, and cash. And I was just talking earlier, when you last saw us, there was a doctor who lives right down the street, and he got a phone call from his daughter who left before him, and she said, can you please go back in and grab our wedding, or from his wife rather, can you grab our wedding photos? I completely forgot that in the rush. And so he went back in, grabbed the wedding photos, and was on his way. But when you're in that moment, how does it feel?
It feels a little chaotic. There's all these things that you really want to bring, and I feel like you just can't have it be one of those situations where you really wish you got something and you just forgot in the moment, and you discover it a little too late. So having this is really huge, because there are a lot of really important memories that we have saved, photo albums that if it goes, we can't get those back. I mean, the good news is with technology nowadays, a lot of these stuffs are on hard drives. So that's another thing that we were able to pack up, is hard drives with a lot of these memories on them. So it's a little chaotic at the time, getting these, these warnings or seeing all the smoke right here, but it's really best to just kind of stay calm and collected. and trust the people that are, taking care of these fires. Shout out to our firefighters and everybody supporting with this. I know they're doing a great job, making sure everybody's
in the aircraft.
Yeah.
We just saw several fly by right now. We've been seeing them going back and forth. Sorry to interrupt you, but you were just saying earlier to me that makes you feel somewhat at peace seeing all of the efforts.
Yeah, it makes me feel really good seeing all these efforts. I know they're doing everything they can to make sure that we all stay safe and make sure all the structures and buildings stay safe too. The wind, it gets a little crazy too. So I know that all these efforts that I'm seeing from them is really huge. It makes me feel safe, and I'm sure it makes everybody else on the street and in the community feel safe as well.
That's what a lot of people here that we've been talking to have been saying is what a wonderful job the fire department has been doing, the firefighters, and they're just feeling a lot better seeing their efforts out here.
Yeah, makes us feel good. Shout out to them for sure. Shout out to everybody taking their part and helping us out, whether it's, police, fire, all the first responders, doing a really good job. So I really appreciate them.
Great, and thank you for taking the time to speak with us. You said that you have your car packed, ready to go. Your animals are with you, but you're not leaving just yet.
I'm staying ready. I'm staying alert. If I need to go, I'll go right away. I have everything packed and ready. That's really what it's about. It's really hard to leave your home, right? And we learned from the devastation of the past couple fires. Everything's packed up. I got my dog ready. So everything will be ready to go when the time comes, waiting for, I'm sure a lot of people are still waiting to come home from work, if they're not able to leave. So we're all ready to go. If the time comes, we're out of here.
Thank you so much. Please be careful, stay safe to you and your family. He also mentioned earlier that one of our other crews in Castaic interviewed his dad, who is a superintendent at Castaic Unified School District. So he's watching the situation over there, Braden and his family over here, making sure all of their things are ready to go. For now, live in Valencia, I'm Kimberly Chang. I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
Yeah, and on that note, he said to the school community, Glenn, you said at 8,000 acres, it's probably going to be bigger than just today. He mentioned, for the school community to check in Castaic Union School District because they may not have classes tomorrow. And also, that gentleman was giving a shout out to the firefighters. Shout out to his mom who printed out that list so that her family would be prepared.
Brilliant.
Right. And if there is one thing to come out of the horrifying month that we've had in Southern California, it's, you're seeing people that are being more prepared after seeing what we went through in the Palisades and the Eaton fire. We've seen a number of examples of that just in this neighborhood, people being more prepared as a result of things that we've learned in just the last few weeks.
No, we're always talking about being prepared for something like this or an earthquake, and a lot of people, it doesn't happen. But I think after what happened the last couple of weeks, a lot of people went out and made sure. And, that family alone, here you got the dad is concerned about all the kids in the school system, getting them evacuated. Meantime, his wife and his son are at home. They're like spectators of what's going on, keeping their fingers crossed they don't become victims.
Yeah. So we'll continue to check back in with Kimberly in that neighborhood. We also have Rachel Menitoff on the ground in a different neighborhood impacted by the Hughes fire. Rachel, where are you now?
Lauren, Glenn, we're on Lake Hughes Road. We're right off the 5 freeway where there has been a tremendous effort to prevent this fire from spreading. We've got a really good view from our vantage point of Castaic Lagoon, where many of these helicopters are doing drops and gathering water from this water resource. You can see it right now. They're doing a drop in Castaic Lagoon, and then they will go back out and continue fighting this fire. We also have Castaic Lake not far from us. So we've had a couple of water resources that have been crucial in trying to contain this fire. Now, if we can kind of pan around this way, the fire appears to be moving in a southeasterly direction from this wilderness area all the way toward the 5 freeway. We see a couple of ground crews, a couple of hand crews who are in that thick brush. Part of the problem with this fire is that we haven't had rain in a couple hundred days. It is very dry around here. We have this thick vegetation that you see, and that's why we're seeing these spotty fires. They're kind of coming up at these spots of fires, and that's because of the thick brush that we've got over here. The fire battalion chief that we just talked to says that the winds are between 20 and 30 miles per hour right now, and this is a good sign. It means that the air crews can continue the work that they're doing. It's something that they were not able to do 2 weeks ago during the Palisades fire, and it was to their detriment that air crews were not able to do drops because the winds were above 50 miles per hour. But so we're in kind of the sweet spot in terms of the winds over here. We've got a lot of water resources that they're using, which has been very helpful. And you know, I have to say, you know, you were commending the firefighters. They deserve so much credit because many of them are coming from the Palisades fire. They're coming from the Eaton fire over here. And it has been a very long, strenuous, and just an incredibly difficult month for them. So it's been one fire to the next for them, and they absolutely deserve all the credit. Lauren, Glenn.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much for that. A big part of this story is weather and what happens with it over the next day or so, because Kai, the conditions aren't just going to end tonight in terms of the wind and the low humidity.
Yeah, it's an evolution. It takes about 24 to 48 hours for things to change for the better, or sometimes for things to change to the worse. We're going to change to the better, but it's going to take well until Friday afternoon until we get these Santa Ana winds to relax, more moisture coming into the atmosphere, cooler temperatures. And then by the time we head towards Saturday and Sunday, we've got rain chances coming to Southern California. But for the time being, well, it is bone dry. And as many of our reporters have been reminding us, that it's been over 300 days since we've seen rain. And look at the humidity value, top right-hand side of your screen, 6%. The wind gusts on the fire lines right now, anywhere between 31 to 34 miles per hour. Winds continue to stay in that exact range. And actually, by about 9 o'clock tonight, a little bit more widespread. You could see the winds moving along the 126 towards the Santa Paula area, the 118 out towards the Simi Valley. Then by tomorrow morning, a little bit more isolated once again to strictly these areas right in the middle of your screen, much of the interior inland sections of LA, Ventura County, right on that LA, Ventura County line. Then by the time we make our way into Thursday night, and then finally, once again, by Friday morning and Friday afternoon, well, here you go. We start to see these winds beginning to relax. And eventually, as we make our way into Friday afternoon, well, there you see it. We've got more of that northwesterly flow, west to easterly flow. So that's the onshore flow that will finally come back to Southern California. And again, it's going to take a couple days to get there, but we will have improved fire weather conditions once we head into late Friday and definitely into the weekend forecast, with rain and much cooler temperatures and a lot more moisture coming into Southern California. Red flag until Friday morning at 10 a.m. So for the rest of the night tonight and for the entire day tomorrow, we will continue to see extreme fire weather danger continuing to encircle much of Southern California, and the high wind warning, where we're seeing winds gusting up to 50, 55 miles per hour in place until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And again, you can see not just the LA Ventura County regions, but for Orange County, as well as Riverside and San Bernardino County. So although you're watching us and you're in the clear for the time being, it is once again still a very good reminder to always be alert, stay ready, and get all your things put together. Those 6 Ps that Mom mentioned, that was a really great list. I'd like to put that together to have that for everybody. We should put that on the website or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just a fantastic idea to have. Really, really good idea there. But again, where she's talking about plastics, pets, prescriptions, those things that start with P, those are really good reminders to have those things at the ready. And you could see on the water vapor imagery map, there's a little moisture just to the north of us, really San Diego County into the Baja. But as we make our way through the night tonight, we'll eliminate even more of that moisture. So unfortunately, through the night and into tomorrow, as you take a look at the storm tracker, it gets a little drier. Once we head into Friday, well, here comes the return of a little bit of marine layer, some instability by Friday night, and there you go. By Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, we start to see a little bit of some light showers coming into Southern California. By Saturday night into Sunday morning, the cold air meets up with the moisture, and not only will we see rain, but look at the snow opportunities up in our local mountains. We could see the snow levels dipping down to about 3,900 to 4,000 feet. So boy, that's really good news for our local ski resorts. But again, it's just great news for all of Southern California, as the moisture will make its way back into the environment. Of course, we'll lose the Santa Ana winds completely as we head from Friday into the weekend and the beginning of next week. And there you go. Once we make our way into Monday, the beginning of next week, this will be the end of the month, January 27th. Well, we'll start to see some much improved conditions for Southern California. We will see the end end of the rain event. However, we'll see the moisture lingering, damp conditions throughout many of the fire lines, and it's those damp conditions that we need to return to Southern California to give us more safety.
All right. Look forward to that. Safety. All right. Let's check in with Alina Boving again. She's on the ground up there in Castaic. Alina?
Glenn, Lauren, yeah, we're still here on Charlie Canyon, and just take a look behind me. You can see the progression of the fire now. And as soon as this, yeah, they're moving that dozer in right now to set up some lines. There goes another one. Pretty critical situation here, just based on where we are. Just west of us is Santa Clarita and Valencia. So a lot of communities just over this ridge and over this hill here. Now you can see the outline of this fire here, and it's just pretty spectacular from this vantage point. So much black smoke in the air. We have hand crews out here. You can see several engines, and they just moved in those dozers. So they're going to try to attack this fire from the ground to try and stop it, considering the trajectory of it and where it is going. Again, as I said, west of here is Valencia, Santa Clarita, a lot of communities there. I can't tell you exactly how close it is, but we do know that it is just over the hill here. Maybe if we walk over this way, can see a slightly different look, but no, it's they're moving in closer to attack the front of the fire to set up a line, a perimeter, considering how quickly this fire made its way down the ridge and is now approaching where we are. This is Charlie Canyon Road, and it is southwest of where we were earlier, that community that was once considered on the path of this fire. That's no longer the case. It's not moving in that direction anymore, but rather moving west, and again, moving closer toward the Valencia community, Santa Clarita community. As far as the wind goes, guys, it's not strong right now, so that's the only good news.